Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining us again. This is going to be a ASMR, little bit of an ASMR today. We're going down the, everybody's done these like ASMRs where they're, gently tapping and tingling. This is the dark side of ASMR. This is where we don't go away from our problems. We attack them straight on. Let me get ready into something more comfortable. I have been thrashing that unicycle into the frickin' ground, and it's absolutely frickin' life-changing how I can move around the earth, the ground, everything. I think I'm feeling pretty hungry. I only had the 5 rolls of sushi for lunch. Kind of a couple hours late for dinner with chat with OnlyFans. But it's Sleep Stream Night on YouTube tonight, so hooray for you, John. Hooray for the new microphone. First Sleep Stream with the new microphone in a long time. I came off the bike when I was thrashing it the other day, and I just found it there today at the trail, essentially. They cleared around the skate park all the tall grass, and now I'm able to just charge through all of that area. They cut all the grass down, and within no time I've already been making just sicker and sicker lines through there, to the point where I'm thinking it would be good to ask my friend if he could get some drone shots following me through there. Big Seattle ride tomorrow. That'd be fun to take part in. My friend's freaking out about how to get a board, but he still hasn't figured out what's wrong with his current board. He was asking if I do 1,200 or less on my original one wheel, which I probably should just fucking jump on, but I kind of don't want to sell it. Let's get something to eat. Oh yeah, I had that. An ice cream bar. I'm so sweaty. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I just need like a shower like immediately. Smelling something. Eggs and bacon sounds good. I got pizza. That's a mystery. How that will hit me. I think we're going to start the stream probably in the bath. So just, yeah, maybe I'll do a pizza and then that'll cook while I'm in the bath. Can't believe how fucking hard it's been writing this. I'm dressing in all black and I'm in all white. Jeez. I'm so troubled by clickbait. Okay, what do I do? Pizza? I can't think. I brought Scully with me. I brought little Scully with me to the park, and there was other doggies there, and lots of her friends that love her. Yeah. Okay, preheat the oven. And we'll get on with the ASMR segment. But I'm kind of get into that mode right now. Being patient with this oven. The dark side of ASMR. Oven. Hansel and Gretel. Bone soup. So we'll direct this one with a little bit of inspiration for Hansel and Gretel and from the time I stumbled upon an abandoned house in Japan. At 10, you're in the woods. And it's getting real dark. So find yourself in a calm place. Close your eyes. Darkness is setting. 9. Feel like you've kind of lost your way. 8. yeah, you're really certain you've lost your way. You're off GPS and you don't know which way to get back to signal. 7, you find yourself panicking and sweating a little bit on your brow and really wanting to stop what you're doing and take off your coats, but you're just kind of working yourself up into circles and getting yourself more disoriented. 6, starting to get lightheaded. You feel like you haven't had enough to eat. You're really certain now you're not going to be able to get back. Your battery's getting low. 5, your phone completely dies. Another degree of rock bottom is hit where you thought you were going in the right direction, almost about to make it to GPS. Then 4, you get around the corner where you think you know where you are, and you know you're exactly somewhere you've never been before, and clearly in the opposite direction. So 2, you realize there's no way with the supplies and the amount of energy you've expended to get to where you are, there's no way you can get back to the other direction of over the ridgeline, contoured ridgeline, because you've just made it to the peak, and the wrong peak. It's taking you to 1 where you've run out of water, you have no more cell phone, and you just jump off the peak because you realize there's just you're gonna suffer if you don't. So the end. These are the anti-ASMRs, where generally an ASMR is going to give you goosebumps in a good way. This is going to give you goosebumps in a bad way. So, I don't really care to do things that other people have done. Let's do things new. Let's do things original. Let's create. So, yeah, I didn't really intertwine Japan or the abandoned house, but we can kind of work our way towards that. There's a very special story, true story, real life story that I found in an abandoned house. I was going through the woods and I found like video cameras and just really cool electronics and things that were just not typical stuff that you'd see in America. You wouldn't see a big, nice camcorder. If you did, you'd see it all smashed up or something, and it would be ancient, not almost modern. I remember I got to this house and it was really sketchy because I was like, oh, is this abandoned or what the hell? It's no driveway. It's just overgrown woods all around. Just stumbled upon it after walking a long time in the woods. It was like a Hansel and Gretel house. And I went in. I noticed the floor was jacked up real high and off center. And when I went in, the floor settled down quite a bit, and the whole house felt like it was on the brink of collapsing. And in America, they would have sealed up and boarded up places like that. But the respect is so incredible there that they gift their excess electronics at the train station entry, like for homeless people to resell. And an abandoned house would be left untouched for probably years with just respect and people minding their own business. Japan's a very special place. I've had the honor to go there 2 times and spend quite a bit of time by myself exploring in the woods and wilderness of Japan, as well as the very dense cities of and suburbs and main cities of Tokyo. My favorite town of all is Akihabara, which is a 10 by 10 block. 10 by 10 block and vertical 10 by 10 block vertical electronic superstore mecca area where just electronics, anything electronic related, from circuits up to vacuums to electric motorcycles to anything electronic was sold there. And I was just really fascinated by mini discs, and I got some mini disc component systems and a little mini micro player. I'm gonna put the pizza in, and then we'll go into our Japanese themed ASMR breakdown. And be warning, this might raise your blood pressure. This might raise your respiratory rate. Um, if it's too much, open your eyes and step away. If you have to. Well, I was not gonna put it on there, but kind of thinking I want to go in the bath. I don't know. 18 minutes. I didn't preheat the stone. Dang it. Preheat the stone. I don't think I have the patience to wait 18 minutes in the bath and then get out abruptly. Although I have been wanting to have really short baths and like no excuse to get out and stay in there forever. Okay, 18 minutes on the clock for the pizza. And I might have to eat the pizza with OnlyFans because I had a dinner date at 5 o'clock that I'm very, very late for. Very late. So we're in Japan, so naturally you're a bit disoriented. There's a bit of a language barrier. A language barrier, quite an extreme language barrier, an intimidating language barrier. You're hesitant to ask people for help, and it creates a stressful dynamic when you feel lost, and so the lost feeling is amplified when you're not where you are. But we'll take you to Akihabara, and you're in Electric Town, and you're actually kind of lost within a big skyscraper, and you just become disoriented to the point where you're. Hi, Karen. We're doing the dark side of ASMR. This may give you anxiety, hypertension, high respiratory rate, stress. And if I do it right, you're going to be hyperventilating at the end. But right now, you're lost in Japan. You were recently lost near an abandoned house in the wilderness and had a broken floor, and you got out of there and figured there was more safety in the city. So you headed towards the city. Once you got out of there, it felt like it was a close call. But naturally, being the outdoor guy that I am, being the outdoor people that I bring with me, we're not suited for the city life. We don't know our way around buildings. We don't know our way around Japan, or what the signs are, or how to ask for help. So at 10, we're on the 10th floor of electronics store, and we've gotten kind of carried away. We're a little disoriented with all the language barrier. 9, you realize you don't know what time it is. You've been browsing electronics for hours and looking at mini discs, fascinated with the fact that you can erase and re-record and rearrange the playlists, and how much cooler technology that is on a CD. And so you're like, oh man, this is really cool. And you see a little sign that says that the mini discs are on extreme clearance. And so 8, you ask the store clerk why they're on extreme clearance, and he plants the seed of doubt and in your heart that mini disc is dying, and they're phasing out mini disc, and you're really like fully invested in mini disc. You're on this trip to get new mini disc equipment, and you hear the sad truth that MP3 is taking over. And I mean, it really hurts because you've invested like thousands of dollars in mini disc technology and equipment, and even the MP3 version of mini disc. So it just really hurts. So 7, you're dismayed. You're thinking about your life. You're like, I'm gonna go home and think about if I want to invest in mini disc or just get another Sony Bean. And I'm just, I mean, this is really dark for you because you're a technomad. You're technologically like, fluent and just really convinced. This is just scary to me because I'm really into mini disc still. But you make your way to the elevator, realizing you don't know what time it is, and you don't know how to read military time in Japan, and really don't want to ask anybody, and your cell phone, doesn't work. You're in Japan. You haven't figured that one out, even though you're a technomad. So you're at 7, you find your way to the elevator, you get on. And you got a really bad feeling that something's not right. So 6, you've realized the button you've pressed feels like the elevator is going the wrong way, wrong direction to the ground level. And you're seeming to go up and up and up and up and up, and there's rattling, and there's like some clanging that kind of sounds like a cable has snapped, and the elevator starts to sway side to side, and you feel like you're pretty sure it's just hanging off by a thread, and you're like, God damn, this feels like fucking emergency. So you're at 5, and you take a deep breath, but don't really get a whole breath in because a bunch of dust comes crashing down through the ceiling panels. And when you took your deep breath, you got in like a big inhalation of like white powder, and you don't really know what it is. And so you're at 4, the dust settles, and you kind of can look up and you see there's flames above you, and exactly like you thought, the elevator is swinging by like a single strand left, just dangling, kind of hitting back and forth into the walls of the shaft, or the elevator shaft, and you feel like the loose end of the start to see the loose end of the cord unraveling, and you're like, oh my God, this elevator is going to drop, just like in the movies. But you're at 2, and you see the flames, and you see more white powder. You're not really sure what it's about, and take another deep breath, but then you get blasted with another just wave of white powder, and you look up and you realize there's someone up there spraying down a fire extinguisher, and so they must be help. So you're crying out for help and just really screaming, but it's a lot like you're underwater or something, and they're not hearing you, and you start to think it's just an automated sprinkler thing that's sending down fire retardant. And you're starting to realize the flames are down below you. And you get to 1, you try to take another deep breath, but you're just surrounded by this white powder and dust and flames and burning plastic smoke, and You're like, God damn, I wish there was a window I could jump out of. Fucking just spare me fucking now. And you're hearing screams and realizing anybody that was up there that might have been helping you is probably helping somebody else, but it sounds like they're all fucked. And you get to 0, and the last strand on the elevator breaks. The whole elevator combusts into flames, and it just starts free falling down and down and down and down, and you feel like there's no way the building could have been that big, as the flames start to scorch your body. We're thinking that you were going to get some relief with the impact of it falling, but it just keeps falling and falling and falling, and you burn alive before it hits the ground. And that was the story of when the mini disc died. Thank you. Thank you, Taryn. Did you make a new account? So, part 2 of that story, if you go to -1, because 0 is always death. -1, you've died. The whole building burned. And in Japan, if they suspect you've committed suicide, they bill your family. So at -1, they bill your family. And your family 2 generations down is 100 years in debt. Thank you, Carl. I got the new microphone too. Get real close. Lay you down like this. Kiss you. We're making some pizza for our scary little campfire section. So that was the tale of the burning elevator shaft, and the truly horrific part of Minidisc dying, or even the rumor of Minidisc dying. I'll take a moment to chat with you guys. Crybaby, I gotta do ASMR that people don't do, you know? Like, I don't want to be like eating into the freaking mic. I don't want to be like making tingling sounds. It's copyright. I want to do stuff that people haven't done. And so if ASMR usually brings people peace and serenity, I want to bring you panic and hyperventilation. The story of the day Minidisc was rumored to die. Let's tell a scary tale of the day they no longer allow sex on OnlyFans. Oh, it already happened. Wah wah. What are we gonna do? I gotta do stuff that's scary to you guys. Thanks, Teran. I like the ON. Anyway, I think the whole OnlyFans drama right now is like only good for me. Only good for me for now. It's not good when it happens, but good for now. bring me something that isn't panic. Well, at least you're hyperventilating, I hope. Oh, really, really fucking good news. Really, really great blessed fucking news on high. God has answered my fucking prayers. My pile of fucking evidence against the neighbor collected, bullet casings, drug fucking front sheets with all the signatures on it, on and on and on. They got a big letter on their house today that says abandonment, and they're fucking entering in like 2 days, in 3 days or some shit. So, super cool, because they brought really bad traffic along with us. But I'm going to take you into their apartment where I'm pretty sure they have a human trafficking operation, a small coca grow, and unknown countless illegal immigrants working in a small sweatshop out of the kitchen. And all these apartments are identical to mine, so you can really just picture yourself there. But the only difference is 10. You're in total darkness. You realize there's a really foul smell to your nose, but you know your way around because the apartment's the same as yours. You just, were knocking on the door because you smelled what smelled like, death, human decomposition, and you accidentally went in and the door kind of phantom slammed shut, and you're like, okay, I don't know. Is this cool? So 10, you realize the power's been shut off for who knows how long. The fridge door's been cracked. There's flies coming in and out of it. You realize there's a tiny bit of light escaping from the fridge. So you're torn between closing it and stopping the smell, or opening it, having a little bit of light, and getting the fuck out of there. So you decide to open it, and a head rolls out, and you can't tell if it's an animal head or a human head or what, but it starts rolling across the ground, and it hits you and splashes you with something, and one of the shelves breaks on the fridge, and a little avalanche starts to come down. At 8, you've got a small lahar of unknown toxic, uncooled items that have been fermenting in various black bags. And it falls here. One of the big bags falls to your feet and just kind of bursts open and starts soaking you with what looks like blood and bones. And you really don't know what, what that is. You kind of just assume they're getting a lot of like special Latin carne asada or something, and you're like, I really don't like the extra seasoning, so that's probably what that is, the extra smell. But at 7, you realize you see gold molars in the first head that rolled out, and you realize, they don't put gold molars in dogs or deer heads or horse heads or bear heads or any other kind of animal head that you thought it might have been. You're like, oh, it might have been a monkey head or something, but you're like, no, that was a gold filling. And you look around, since you've got a little bit more light with the fridge having opened up, and it's just, you're at this point, you're like, the fucking smell is so bad, I don't give a fuck about seeing my way out. Just close the fridge, and you're trying to close the fridge, but it just, everything is piled out. The shelf is broken, and everything's just keeping it from closing. And you realize, well, I don't think I'm gonna be able to close this because It was open. It was cracked when I got here. It's probably jammed on something. And do you see with the extra bit of light over on the table, there's a big pile of gold teeth, and you realize that's from another head because that wasn't missing any teeth. And at 6, with a little bit more light, you see in the corner something move, something scared, withered. And you figure it's a neglected animal that has been neglected, some kind of dog or something that's walking on all fours, that's scattered into the darkness. But at about 5, you realize it's one of the creatures from Signs or iLegend that are in the underground tunnels of Las Vegas to this day. Shadow monsters, if you will. Can't live in the light. And so you manage to close the fridge or the door a little bit, and you see that the creature reacts by kind of moving in the wave of the darkness. I'm going to check the pizza. So you close the fridge a little bit more, and you notice you're getting it to kind of dance as you open and close the fridge. It's kind of going back, doing the crab dance, and you're like, oh, that's my favorite dance, the crab dance. I love that. So you take a deep breath, realize you've been hyperventilating and your heart's been racing. And you start to realize, this house is abandoned. I could grab all these gold teeth and, just kind of leave things how they were. But you realize this is essentially a murder scene. This is just a slaughterhouse straight out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre with, unknown amount of bodies. And you kind of overlook that and see that there's tools to remove the teeth and there's more heads ready to be processed. So you start chipping away at a couple more gold teeth since you see there's a scale and you're able to weigh out the gold, and you've got your phone and you're checking gold prices and you're just watching, you're tinking them away into the scale and watching what you think is your little nest egg, your retirement. And you hear the door open and then slam. So quick, and you didn't see anything coming or go. And you notice as you're working on the teeth, the shadow creature's less worried about the light and is moving around you and watching you as if it's a familiar practice. And you kind of forget about how bad it smells. It smells like death. So you're just looking at all the gold teeth, and you're slowly figuring out a process of how to pull them out. And every couple teeth you break one, and kind of gives you a shiver of, is this right, or is this necrophilia? Is this wrong? These people are dead. They're not going to use this. So you're at 1. And you see a small red light on your chest, and you realize someone's got a laser beam on your chest. 0. You hear a silent shot. And you drop. It's all dark. It stayed dark. It's dark forever. -1. Dude stoked you. You picked a few teeth out for him. And he goes back to working the teeth out. And that was the story of harvesting gold for the Anunnaki. Nice, funny man, but sometimes your craziness scares the hell out of me. No offense. Yeah, this is a brand new series. This is a brand new series. I realized all my series have been very very Disney-like. Let's go burn ourselves on this pizza real quick. He's close. Following story is going to deal with claustrophobia. So if you're claustrophobic, try to hold your breath. You might be able to hyperventilate like twice as fast. Yeah, I didn't burn myself. I said I was going to burn myself for good luck. To not burn myself. I might burn myself trying to eat it too fast, though. So this one takes us to the Bat Caves. The place you've been many times before. Place of great joy, great pride. Feel like you know it well enough to guide people there. So you're up in the mountains, about 4 miles from the car where you started. Your plan is just to kind of have a day hike. Go up to the Bat Caves, go into the caves. Try to get through this one that you know that has an entrance and an exit. So, hiking up the trail, you've been kind of feeling a little like you didn't bring enough water, feeling a little dehydrated. You get to your last drop, and you're just like, fuck, and you throw it down kind of dramatically, and you don't realize it, but you're really going to need that bottle later. And it just broke. And you didn't mean to break it, and so you were walking forward. And since you're the guide and you're just trying to kind of do things to not have summit fever, you've been walking barefoot. And you step it right into the glass. And you don't cut yourself that bad. It's just kind of right on the arch, in a real sensitive spot, not that deep, not that far, just enough to be kind of like real irritated. kind of get that instant red scratch, like when you get a blackberry or really when a cat scratches you. You get that dirt under the nail. You notice you get that red kind of infection line. Like, okay, it's kind of normal. I gotta deal with that. And since you weren't meaning to litter or leave your bottle, you just kind of threw it down dramatically. You decide to kind of pick up the glass. And you're at 9. And you're grabbing the glass. And you start to realize you've gotten little cuts on your hands. And little shards of glass or splinters are sticking into your hand. And you're like, well, shit. I just used all the first aid kit materials on my foot. So now this is getting a little bit more serious. And you're at 8. And you're noticing those little raised red bumps are starting to come up on your hands. Kind of like stinging nettles or a light allergic reaction like hives. Nothing that really makes you want to turn around or stop going. So you're continuing the hike. You're about 3 miles in, about a mile from the bat caves. And you realize your dog, you can't remember if you let the dog out of the car or he came with you. And you're like, man, I hope I left him in the... Okay. I hope I left him in the car. He had water and the windows were cracked, but I don't remember. Did we bring him with us? You're real spaced out. You've done this hike 100 times before, so you got extra stoned and kind of got disoriented with all the details that you were trying to remember. You got these cuts in your hands starting to bug you. And you're at 6, and you get to the bat caves. And you realize you did let your dog out, and it had been following you. And so you all kind of reconvene at the same time at the bat caves. And you're like, oh, good pup. And you're throwing him in the air. You're just so fucking happy. You're like, holy shit, I just did the dumbest thing ever. I've left Scully outside and left the house before. And she was back at the door when I got home. It was kind of the same feeling. You're throwing her up in the air. And you do it about the 3rd time and you realize something feels wrong. And, you've got, some wetness that you're feeling in your hands, and you thought you maybe reopened your cuts on your hands, which you look down, and sure enough, you've reopened the cuts on your hands, and I guess you didn't really realize it until a few minutes later after checking it out that your dog had cuts on its paws. And when you were throwing it up and down, it really aggravated it, and it was far worse. And you realize your dog is starting to show signs of stroke or signs of shock, and kind of shaking and sweating, but looks cold, and you really don't know what to do. So you just kind of wait with the dog, but the dog just kind of violently throws up, and you're not really sure what it is. You're in the bat cave entrance, and so you turn on your headlamp, and you notice it's like his intestines, and he just basically self-exploded, self-destructed. So you're like, fuck, man. I can't let this get me down. I'm in the happiest place, I could ever be, at the Bat Caves. I love that place. Fuck it. My dog was already 11.8, had a good run. But it's really hard to shrug off the fucking dark feeling of, maybe I shouldn't keep recreating, and maybe I should turn around and honor my dog to the best of the story. But you're at 5, and you're like, okay, let's make a little rock pile around the dog and kind of honor it. No better place than to honor it at the Bat Caves, where it's like the best place you've ever, you love. You're at 4, and you've moved some way down the cave. After saying a few words, and you start to hear rocks crumbling around you. And all you can think is that there's a bear that came into the cave and started just knocking the rocks off of the grave to try to get to the meat. And you're like, okay. As looking at your hands, you seem to be getting more and more red, more and more infected looking. You realize your feet have some kind of like trench foot thing going on. Your phone pings. You look down at it. You realize somehow you've lost a couple days. You look down, you see there's bottles. You vaguely remember you brought a bunch of alcohol. And you're realizing, you must have gotten drunk and you're just kind of coming to. You're like, fuck, man. Couldn't have, had my dog die and not got drunk. So you're starting to realize it's been a few days. Your hiking partner is nowhere to be seen. It's kind of a big concern. You get to 3. You're slowly making your way to the other end of the cave where there's the exit, since you're pretty sure the other end collapsed and there might be a bear there. And you don't know where your hiking partner is, but you don't think there's a good outcome. You're moving along, and you're seeing what you think are signs of your hiking partner having made their way through. But you're noticing the marks on the ground are more like scuffles, maybe drag marks, maybe the mark of a crutch. You make your way down. You find yourself a hiking stick. It has some blood on it, but you don't pay much attention to it. The ground's really uneven and it's so dark you don't really know what it is. As you move along, you realize, the marks you were following don't have the crutch mark anymore, and so that hiking stick was clearly the hiking partner. So you feel comforted that you think you're going in the right way and you're going towards your hiking partner. When you get to 1.5, and you realize this isn't the way out of the cave. You're kind of getting in a similar situation where your supplies are low enough that You're almost like, I need to go back and eat my dog that had been buried, that I think a freaking bear came and scavenged. Drink the blood for some nourishment or something, because there's no water in this cave. The walls are a bit wet, but the last time you tried to drink the water off the walls of a cave, you got really bad diarrhea and dysentery, and would save that for a very last resort. And you get to 1. You've gotten to a sheer drop off. And it looks like the scuffling marks just kind of go off the edge. And you kind of look over the edge and faintly see what you think is a headlamp, maybe way down, but all you can think is nobody could have survived the fall down there. I'm wondering how they fell at the headlamp. It's not like they just abruptly were walking in the dark if they had a headlamp. So it drives your heart rate up quite a bit, about 140. I mean, you're hyperventilating real hard at this point. Coming to the realization that whatever they were facing was so dark that they jumped off, or they were being chased. And so a deep fear is seated that you're not alone in the cave. And 0, some giant furry bear, it must have been, tackles you down off the side of the cliff, and you're just free falling, and kind of like the previous story, you're feeling like, okay, well, this is going to be a conclusion. I'm not going to feel this anymore, but you just keep falling and falling, and this animal is on you, chewing you and eating you. And it's the most extreme pain, and somehow you die before you hit the ground. And that's the story of mine shaft, the bear in the mine shaft. I would have added some bats, but bats aren't very scary unless they're COVID related. Living bats aren't scary. It's the ones in your soup you should be worried about. I'm done with that. That's probably about what I thought I would eat. There's like 4 inches of foam I had to get through. With the liquid. So the next one. Hi, Jens. Back up. Back up, 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 back up. Back up, back up, back up, back up. There's somebody named NNNN that's been coming in, and I thought it was you. Nom 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 nom. Yum yum yum. Fuck, why can't I follow conversation? Nope, what? Back up, back up. Okay, no more pizza. No more pizza. Put it away. Feed it to the ants. So this next one has to do with drowning, and we're gonna have to do another one about claustrophobia because the last one really didn't touch on claustrophobia. It's a Red Baron Supreme. Babylon. I don't know. I kind of prefer those Red Barons over like the Freshetta or DiGiorno or anything like that. I can only eat like a slice of DiGiorno, but I can eat like almost a whole Red Baron. Okay. That's sweet of you to tell me. Gamer girl. I'm talking to somebody and they're like, Mikey wants a gamer girl. I thought it was so funny. I'm like, I'm trying to embarrass people. I was thinking about that today at the skate park. This mom was like honking for a kid. And I'm like, you know what? We're too old to make fun of kids for their mom honking at them anymore. It's sad time. And then my friend was like, oh, this guy came up to me the other day that I barely recognized, or I didn't really recognize it. He recognized me. And he's like, oh, I fucked his mom. And I'm like, oh, well, you're basically the stepdad now. And he's like, oh, man, this guy was trying to introduce me to his girlfriend and stuff. Like, I don't know, as if, like, you as some figure in his life at some point to have dated his mom. But the funny thing is, it's like, he forgot the kid, but that kid's like never gonna forget him. Like, you fucked my mom. You're the guy that fucked my mom. Like, I don't really know what the context was, but I know that my friend's quite a bit older than the majority of people at the skate park. It's kind of a awkward one. I don't know. Well, he was saying the guy had like the twinkle in his eye, like, you fucked my mom, but like he didn't bring it up. I just thought it was funny because it sounded like he was being like bra for him, and like somehow fucking his mom was like that was cool, or like somehow didn't affect his coolness. Whereas like normally, like you fuck, like a friend fucks somebody else. I guess they weren't friends and they probably weren't the same age. It's like if you're friends and you're the same age and you like fuck somebody's mom, that's like you gotta kill that person. Is like essentially like the only way to deal with that one. In and out, back it up, in and out, gamer girl. I should do a gamer girl one where you've run out of Postmates, run out of Red Bull, you run out of the little batteries to get your headset fucking going. You have no communication to the outside world anymore. And we're at 10. You click into Fortnite. think it's just a normal night. You get on. It's your buddies. Don't think too much of it. You look at the calendar. It's last week, Friday the 13th. It's another Friday. Got off work, long day, so you're a little loopy, a little punch drunk. You take your first shot. You build a little house on Fortnite. And you take a shot kind of in the dark, just kind of with your gun, fire it out. You hear, hey, what the fuck? And you realize you just friendly fire headshotted your dual partner. And you're in a tournament, and so it's kind of a big deal. Get your partner, was one of the first ones out. And they're your roommate, and they're in the other room. And you hear them fucking yelling. And you're at 9. And you start hearing the breakers fucking popping. You're like, oh, fuck, he's trying to kill the fucking power on the house and kill my game because he's just rage quit his own game and his own stream. And it's 8, and you hear fucking storming around the house. Oh my God, and fucking roommates like fucking taking this to the next level. And you've been holed up for a long time. You've been turned on a tournament for like fucking days now, and so you're out of batteries. You're out of Nutella that you fucking use to pleasure yourself and game with and lubricate your mouse hand and eat as a all-in-one fucking gamer fucking substance survival food. Since you've run out of your that drink Soylent that you just love, you know, your last one you'd watered down, and there's nothing left. And so you're getting to 7, and you're hearing the pounding up the stairs. Your roommate, he's a big guy, and you don't really know what's coming because your batteries have fucking died on your Bluetooth once your partner's your teammate's computer shut off because the intercom system was set up through his computer, and it was hardwired through the house, which he seemingly has flipped breaker switches and attempted to shut the power off and kill your computer and kill your game. And you're at 7, and you've made a few kills, and you're really trying to concentrate on the game because this is like basically the final tournament, and it's going to make a big deal, even though your partner is the first one out. You're on to potentially a money prize on this one, and bragging rights. And you get to 5, and your door just fucking getting pounded on, and you're like, Jesus Christ, well, good thing I locked it. And fucking 2 seconds later, you see a fist come through the door, and you realize he's making his way in here. He's not stopping, and that lock isn't going to last forever. So your heart rate's jumped from about 120 to 140, 145. You're really racing, hyperventilating, can't catch your breath. But you're still playing your game, feeling like it's giving you kind of a little bit of a zen, a little bit of an escape from the wildness around you. You know, you're just trying to picture this fucking pounding. Sorry, Scully. You're just trying to picture this pounding as light tapping, you know, as kind of an ASMR. Just try to picture it and zone out and just kind of zone in with it. But it's really hard because there's like a fucking bloody zombie hand fucking reaching through the door like The Shining, grabbing at the fucking door handle, pulling at the lock. You see he's pretty cut, so you don't realize, you don't understand how he's still going and figure he's going to stop it in a second. But you remember your roommate did some meth before the tournament 3 days ago. It was halfway on riding the high down, halfway in that extreme withdrawal state of falling asleep and some kind of drug-induced psychosis, and you realize I don't know if this game is worth playing or dying for. But you look back and you see the blood loss and you realize it's, several liters of blood have poured out of this guy's arm. And so you figure there's no way he can keep tearing through the wall, but you keep playing and you're getting higher and higher on the score, and you're closing in on what you feel is, towards the top 10 where you're going to get a cash prize. And boom, that door just falls down at 3. And your roommate has got his arm kind of through the door hole, and it has fallen down, and he's pinned on the ground, and he looks like he's pretty much dead at this point because he's just convulsing and there's so much blood on the ground. You realize with your medical training that there's no way that loss of blood is incongruent with sustenance of life. And you realize his arm's nearly half severed off, and so gives you a bit of a shock again that if he's still alive, he could get up. He's not pinned under that door anymore. And so you're at 2, and you're getting really close to winning the championship. And you're just doing headshot after headshot. You friendly fired one of the other teammates on your team, and you realize they're pounding on your front door, and you can see on your ring they've got a gun. And you feel really vulnerable because you're in kind of like a glass house with, visibility, and it's just a matter of time that he snipes you in real life out the back window, out the back around the porch. So you're looking out the back porch and you realize you've left the back deck door open, and you look back there, and it's been a minute since you've seen him on the ring. And you see your other teammate who lives a couple houses down that's made his way over, quickly building this structure like straight out of Fortnite, some kind of ladder to get himself up to your level at the window. It's not worrying you too much because it's not really a ladder up to your window. It's just kind of up to the level of your window. And then Zero, your head flies across the floor. You're seeing your body disconnected from your head. It flies out of the window and basically rolls to the feet of your teammate. And they step on your head and kind of prop it up to look at you and say, "Fuck you for friendly firing me in that game." And your eyes roll back in your head. And that's the last thing you remember is Fortnite turned into real life Fortnite. -1. You got Fortnite banned. People are going after your family, and that was their livelihood. You might as well have been a school shooter. You're fucking remembered as the guy who killed Fortnite. The end. I like the -1, like the after the fact. Like, oh, you thought dying was a fucking sense of relief? No. Your family is cursed for several generations. I'll put my shoes on the dryer. I'll put my knee pads on there too. I think they stay pretty dry when I wear my shorts or my pants. The next story is a very, very scary story to me. It's the tale of the overdraft fee. If you have financial triggers, you might want to turn this off. This is going to be very intense. This is a story about cell phone bill got out of hand. So one day, you realize your phone beeps. It says your phone's due in 3 days. You've got the money. We're at 10. You know, it's day 3. Phone bill's due. You're like, oh shit, I had the money in there and now I spent it on something else. Getting a fucking trail map or some shit. And, like, well, that's okay. My phone's got a good grace period, so you realize it's not a big deal. But you are going on a trip, so you're really going to need your phone, so you should probably try to figure out how to get the money to get on the phone. And so a couple days goes by, and you notice you've gotten an overdraft fee, and you're a little surprised because it's higher than normal. Getting you a little worked up. I know you're getting ready for your trip, and there's a text, hey, can you tell us when you're going to pay your bill if you're not going to pay your bill? And you kind of ignore it. And getting ready for your trip. You've got some other expenses. You had the money, but really didn't want to deal with it. So, you decide to start an OnlyFans and see where that takes you. And it feels like it's kind of not in line with who you are, and you're feeling a little bit guilty and feeling like it's getting out of hand. And you're relieved though because you got the money to pay your cell phone bill, but you haven't paid it yet, and the overdraft fee has doubled. But you're like, oh, it's not such a big deal. I made quite a bit more than that in this new job. And 9, you check your email, and you notice OnlyFans is renewing their acceptable use terms and conditions, and they're no longer allowing drug use, and your whole brand is centered around drug use, drug paraphernalia, because you really didn't feel comfortable about being sexual on there. So 8, you're realizing you got to start doing sexual stuff. Smoking bowls isn't going to cut it anymore. They're cutting that out of the terms and conditions. And so 7, you're a few days into doing naked sleep streams and feeling really uncomfortable by the people coming in, and everything feels really anonymous, and it's not as personal as YouTube, where people are saying goodbye or chatting with you throughout while they're there, and they're there. And so you get this kind of eerie feeling that you're being watched. Kind of that feeling when you don't cover up your webcam and you're just certain you've got an audience. And so you get to 5, and it's been a few weeks, maybe a month. Time's really flying. Totally forgot about your cell phone bill. You realize you've gotten about 4 or 5 overdraft fees to the point where it would have given you a heart attack before, but you're making some good money and don't think too much of it. Figure you'll just pay it tomorrow, and it's Monday, or is it a couple days till Monday and the business is open back up. But you get to Sunday and you're at 3 and you realize your phone's going to shut off at midnight because you haven't made any payments and you had agreed to pay several weeks before. Gets to midnight and you get another overdraft fee, and you realize the overdraft fees have been about a double what you thought that they were. And the stress of that really kicks in because you realize OnlyFans takes $4 out of every $20 donation, every $20 sub. And your net and gross math has been completely off. And you get to 1 and you realize not only have you not broken even like you thought you were doing good in the black, or at least breaking even. And you do the math of gross and net income and realize it's off by hundreds of dollars. And that's more than your cell phone bill. That's more than all the overdraft fees combined. And you've just sold your body for a cell phone bill that you couldn't even pay. And you've just utter shame. Just utter ultimate shame. And obviously at 0, the only option left is the easy option. I don't recommend ever taking the easy option. I'm not suggesting this is any kind of story or parallel story to my life. But sometimes the easy option really feels like the only option for people. At -1, your family is cursed. And the cycle continues. But don't worry, they die by fortnight. Because they thought that was safer than the alternative. Take a minute. You got the really strong fucking incense going. I should turn it off right now. It's so powerful. Man, my legs and my knees and shit, like another level of soreness that I'm not used to. But it's not as bad as like mountain biking. Oh my God, I cannot wait to get the current skills and lines I've got down. Really embarrassed to ask somebody to film me today. I didn't ask anybody to film me. People sometimes are filming me. They're like, I'm going fucking nuts. I was going nuts the other day and people are filming me. So coolest thing ever. I don't know if it was today or whatever, but they cut down all the super, super tall grass around the skate park. And it's made this like incredible racetrack that that people can't even bike or fucking walk on. And I can fucking rip over it with the unicycle like madman. It's funny. I start these stories with kind of like an idea of like a couple high points. And then it seems like I actually make the story completely different. It's like that story of the high points in my mind, like this mock outline. Just like go around it. I felt like this series would be really fun. I think it's really fun. Scary fun. I like the Fortnite one, where like you're on a team and all the whole team fucking wants to kill you in real life all of a sudden. Copyright 2021 AOX live streams. I can't do any like I don't know, there's some topics I probably can't touch. I can get close though. They call me Squirrel Master at the skate park. I don't really like it though. Or I never really liked it. I don't really care anymore. Call me Squirrel Master from Half Baked. Like I'm everybody's bitch or something? Like fuck that. Ain't nobody's bitch. Or no, Squirrel Master made Kenny his bitch to protect him. I think they tried to call me Squirrel Master, and I'm like, what, are you my bitch? It's the story of the innocent prisoner. Once upon a time, the police knocked on your door. It was abrupt. It was unannounced. Similar to the way the police knocked on my door this morning. Looked out the peephole, similar to the way I looked out the peephole this morning. Saw them staging themselves around the corner as if they're in fear of ambush or something. It's kind of how they're trained. Kind of got your heart going. Turn the music down, same way you turned the music down this morning. Muted the stream. Opened the door. Step outside, close the door. You realize there wasn't just one officer, there's multiple. And we're at 10. And you've got a baton up against your back. At full force. It just fucking clacks into your fucking spine. And you're like, holy fucking George Floyd, this shit's fucking real. What the fuck's going on? And you hear something about guilty until proven innocent. And you're like, oh my God, these are corrupt cops. And you're at 9. And you've fallen down. They're pulling you up by your hair, bringing you towards a cop car. You're thinking about the first rule of self-defense. Never, ever, under any circumstance, let your attacker bring you to another location. And you're clearly identifying these corrupt police officers as attackers in this situation. Straight out of fucking George Floyd video. You figure they're just trying to balance it out because you're white. And they're trying to equal things out. Anyway, that's here nor there. You're in the back of the car at 8. At 7, you're being really just violently tossed around. You haven't been handcuffed properly. It's way too tight. Fucking feels like they twisted it fucking wrong to another degree that you didn't even realize that tightness wasn't going to be the only issue, but your wrist was like overlapped with the other one in a way, being just kind of pulled like a Chinese finger trap. The farther you pull it apart, the farther it hurts. You were panicking before, but now you are really panicking. You can't catch your breath. You're starting to throw up. You're gagging yourself. You hear them mocking you in the front seat with gagging sounds. And they're taking off their police uniforms. You're not sure if they're actors, corrupt police at that point, or thugs in police uniforms. They're all wearing masks, but you start to feel like there might be someone familiar within the group. Here at 5, and you realize you recognize the voice of the main attacker that had put the bag over your head right before you got in the car. And you're still being thrashed around the back of the car. You're just really confused because you felt like it was a real cop car and they were real police, but they're taking off their uniforms. And so you're really confused whether they're just trying to evade corruption charges from internal investigations, internal affairs, or what's going on. Because if these are cops, they might take it easy on you. So you've got a little bit of a hope that they're cops. They might take it easy on you, but you've also got the seeded doubt that these are just straight criminals that want you. You hear them talking about an overdraft fee, and you're like, oh my God. I only am on my second warning. I have 3 days to pay, and you realize this is some kind of fucking repo collections agency. It's basically hijacked you, fucking throwing you into a van, fucking throwing you down, going down a fucking logging road somewhere. You realize the road's getting really bumpy. And you're at 3.5, and you start to kind of smell some familiar smells coming in through the window. And you realize it's, a mix of weed and kind of a factory smell. And you must realize you're out at old Jimmy John Farmer's house, and you're at 2, and the van coming up to a stop, but you feel like you already know where you are. You're at the farm, and you get to 1. And at this point, the van door opens and they kick you out, and you tuck and roll. And you hear a familiar voice, Farmer John, telling you to take off the hood, pussy. and you slowly take off the hood, and you're just throwing up, and you've thrown up in the mask, and it's just can't catch your breath, and you're gagging on throw up, and just absolute panic of absolutely not knowing even why you're there. And Farmer John says, "Why'd you post the garden on Instagram?" And bang, and he shoots you in the head. And you're dead. -1. Farmer John realizes that photo went viral, steals it, and uses it to market his own now legal medical garden. And gives you no credit, or credit is due. So pay your overdraft fees. Or better yet, call and ask if they'll waive it. Most times they'll waive it. This is art. This is for art and educational purposes. This one, you just got to picture that sound the whole time. This one, you waking up pretty bad. You realize you're a soldier in enemy territory. Something's not right. You remember you've been in a little firefight. And that takes us to 10. At 10, you're in a real dark room. You've been on that nicotine for a long time. You're at war. You get cigarettes with your rations. You get those old school fucking expired rations. They're so old, they still have the cigarettes in them from the 50s. So you light up your ration cigarette, and as you spark it, you notice there's a skull at your feet, and looks like you're chained to the wall. And at 9, you're really not too worried. You feel like you're just really crazy high on all this kratom that you were taking in the jungles, because you're in like Thailand, between Thailand and Vietnam, kind of in the Vietnamese style jungle. And you realize you've been taken as a prisoner of war. Your hands are shackled. You're smoking your last cigarette. You've had some pretty close calls, pretty scary shit happen, so this doesn't feel like it's the worst thing ever. You can't imagine that your SEAL Team 6 is very far behind. You are the point man. So it'd be normal for the team to be coming in right behind. 7. You realize you're in, kind of some kind of underground chamber. 6. You don't know how much time's gone by. It could have been hours. It could have been days. You realize you've pissed yourself and shit yourself and don't have the slack in the chains to pull your hands around to clean yourself up or anything. You notice you must have been subconsciously just kind of keeping yourself alive with drippings down the side of the wall of the cave, which may make sense why it feels like it could have been days or it could have been hours. If you just have gotten really bad diarrhea from this cave water, that you seem to always get diarrhea when you drink cave water off the sides of the walls of the cave, even though you heard that it gets filtered through the moss. You're always drinking it off the moss. So you get to 5. You've just been having round and round of diarrhea after one after another. And it's making you throw up, and you realize it's probably been a couple weeks and you're getting starvation symptoms and feel like your muscles are becoming atrophied. There's just tapping sound. But it's kind of, it had gone away. It had just been going. It was there in the beginning. It had gone away. Now it's kind of come back. You had no reason to spark your lighter again. You saw a human skull. It didn't help your panic. You saw that you pissed yourself. It didn't help your anxiety. When you clicked your lighter, you had no reason to click your lighter again because you saw you were shackled and there's just nothing further than rock bottom but being shackled in solitary confinement. And you're just kind of curious what that sound is because it's been so constant that it just went away and all of a sudden it kind of came back. And so you spark your lighter and you notice there's a drip and your lighter goes out from the drip. And so it's like another day before your lighter dries out and you think to try again. You're kind of going in and out of passing out, in and out of consciousness. You just lost so much fluids. It's probably been nearly 3 weeks now. There's just virtually no way you're keeping yourself alive with all the water you're drinking is contaminated and just, unfortunately, it's diarrhea. And so you're hearing the sound. So the lighter dries out and you click the lighter again. And you kind of hold it in a different spot so the drips doesn't go out. And you see the drips are dripping pretty fast. And so you're like, okay, maybe I can get a drink off of that. And you kind of get forward and I don't know. The best you can do is get your blister infested arm of your shackle under the drop and kind of get a little bit of coolness on your hand. And it just feels like such a relief that it's changed. Something's changed. And it's about another day goes by and you've been licking off the walls and just diarrhea and just passing out because you haven't been eating anything. Trying to eat some of the moss. All the moss is gone now, so you're just drinking dirty water off the side of the wall and coming to terms with that. You forgot about your hand, but you remember adjusting your hand. It felt really good and relaxing. So you reach your hand and realize you can't really feel your hand. So you fumble to get the lighter with your left hand. And you're really, really like, oh man, I have not seen anything to help me. When I've lit this lighter, it only brought me down. And you just think I better toss this lighter. It's not going to help me. But you light it one more time, and you see the drips where it's gone. And we're at 2. And you notice the drips has amputated your leg. And where you lined up the drips with your shackles, it had already put a hole straight into your arm, right underneath your shackle, where you already had kind of a blister and some open sores. And then at 0, you've been passing in and out of consciousness. 0, you just can't take realizing that your leg has been amputated. You didn't feel it. And that you've got injuries on your arm and leg that aren't sustainable to life, with infection. And 0, you pass out and you just never wake up. Just have like eternal pain somehow with that one. It's some weird ass shit. So now whenever you hear ASMR tapping, I want you to think of Chinese water torture. So what was the scariest one? I don't know. Overdraft fees are pretty spooky to me. Goes to 0 to 1 to 0. There's probably a couple people in here. Got you a plum. They're my favorite. We got one more. The scary, scary story of the 18 naked cowboys on Ram Ranch. We already know how that story goes out. They all live happily ever after on that one. Anybody want to throw a hat in the ring and do a full one, throw out some ideas? I need to do one with true claustrophobia. I started one, I thought it was going to be claustrophobia, but I didn't incorporate the claustrophobia. I need one that's like drowning. I think the Fortnite one was the best. It's got to be the best. Where it's like people are damn near Fortniting in real life. Like, I hate even fucking telling you guys this because I feel like it's just like already an idea. It's being stolen. Real life Fortnite. I'm gonna eat your plum if you don't eat it. This is the lucky one of the bat. Oh my god, it's got a picture of a bat. It's got a picture of Alaska. It's got a 69. The bat. There's Alaska. And lucky lotto number. Oh, sorry, it's a 96. Not a 69, sir. 2 numbers off. Should do one with like carbon monoxide poisoning, like maybe like spray paint fumes or something kind of. I need to shut it down for bed, and I owe OF one stream since I flaked out on dinner at 5 p.m. PST. Trademark. So I wanted to jump in the bath like part of the stream. I think I'll give that to OnlyFans. Because I was supposed to go over there for dinner at 5. And it's 9. And your guys' sleep stream is going to start in a fucking hour, and you guys get the good mic and all this shit. I will say goodbye. And I'll see you in an hour. Possibly a little bit less because I'm pretty fucking tired. So I think I can get in and out of the bath pretty quick. I don't like spending too much extra time in there, to be honest. It just feels so boring. Okay. See you on the next one, guys and gals and non-binaries. I absolutely love you. I'm going live on OF right now for up to an hour or so. Kisses.